You know, look, we've been at 135 for about 9 years. It was killing my body since I was a teenage kid, man. Look, I just turned 25, and we want Josh Taylor. We want these guys. We want pro grades. We want St. Taylor. We want all the belts. That's really what we want. We want to be.
Welcome to BodyWork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to BodyWorkBoxing. Man, let me get right into it. I know y'all like, why are we listening to Teofimo Lopez post-Campa fight? Mike. Let me tell you. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, man, it's Friday. We just started weigh-in. And I've been reflecting on this Vergil fight, man. I've been looking at history and activity, and I've been in the weight column, you know what I'm saying, talking about rehydration and catch weights and ceremonial weigh-ins, and really just some of the essence of the sports is being lost sometimes with these guys. And I'm starting to call them weight classes, W-A-I-T. You know what I'm saying? It'll make sense eventually, but the reason why I wanted to play that Teo clip is because he said, look, I was at that weight class since I was a teenager, and basically a lot of people don't recall when Teofimo Lopez had went through that George Kambosos. It was very similar to what happened with Vergil Ortiz. Fight was getting pushed back. So the original Vergil Ortiz and Stanionis was when Stanionis, I think he had to have surgery the first time. The next time it was the rhabdomyolysis from Vergil. And then the last time he said it was just because he was just pure dehydrated. And I remember a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and I guess Teo had licked his shots at a couple people, but a lot of people were going at Teo saying, oh, he said he had air in his lungs and this and that, just making a mockery because I guess he misspoke about how, I guess air got trapped somewhere and allegedly it was life-threatening of some sorts because he was cutting down weight. Remember, he had went out with Triller, you know what I'm saying, thinking he was going to get the one up on Bob, and everybody saluted him initially, but in the long run it didn't pay out because it fell through because they pulled the fight because they didn't want to compete with Floyd because Floyd had a fight coming up, and then something happened with, I think once somebody caught COVID, I think Teo had caught COVID, and it just got pushed back, and that's a lot like what happened with Vergil. Now, I know Vergil is Mexican, and Teofimo Lopez is Honduran, but they both kind of experienced the same things. Now, Vergil had moved from 40 to 47, and he stayed there. And I was listening to an interview with his father where he said, look, man, we stayed there waiting on a title shot. And this is the ramifications of why big fights are not made. Why? Because when the big fights don't get made, people that are waiting in the wings, waiting to get it on, they have to endure this. Think about Stanionis' career right now. Think about Vergil right now. You know what I'm saying? This guy that he's fighting Lawson, he's coming out of nowhere, kind of like coming out of nowhere. A lot of people know him, like I said before. He does have a 73% KO ratio. My only concern is that his 3 losses were stoppages. You know what I'm saying? Vergil is a knockout artist. He's 19-0 with 19 knockouts. Now, I don't question whether or not he's going to win the fight. What I'm pointing out is, yesterday I saw him and he had lip chap, like around here was all white around his lips and stuff. And then today when I seen the weigh-in, he came in weighing 156. And then I'm like, oh man, like, am I overreaching? Am I, reading too much? Because, man, this weight stuff and how these boxers are coming in is really like, man, it's like gambling. You know what I'm saying? Your fighter could be the best fighter in the world, but if he is not going into the ring right, he can be put on a meme, he can get put on display. I'm not sure if we have anything to worry about like that with Vergil, but I think the man's long-term health, you know what I'm saying, may be an issue. And it was an article You know what I'm saying? It was an article that came out. And thankfully this article in Boxing News 24 came out, because nowadays, you know what I'm saying, in order to put out some information, you need credit or a source or somebody else co-signing what you say to validate what's going on. And I want to paint a picture for you. This article basically was laying out the fact that he cried because he thought his career was over. You know, he thought he wasn't going to be able to box. And I don't think a lot of the civilians really realize that a lot of boxers aren't successful. A lot of boxers never make it. A lot of boxers have time and unfortunate events and things that happen in their life that push them back, and they never get the opportunity. But nobody ever stops to think that if they can't box and they set all these eggs in this boxing basket and it doesn't go through, or they're not able to follow through, what are they going to do? So he, in the article, it states that he basically cried, you know, thinking that his career was over. He took some time off, and his father basically was outlining the fact that he just overtrains. That and your body and draining you and sucking yourself down and draining yourself down, and what you could tell by Vergil's legs, because he doesn't have chicken legs at all. You could tell that he's a solid dude. He's still coming in at 156. So he's gonna be up there with Janabek and them boys soon. He's gonna be up there with Janabek and Adamas and all them boys, like, you know what I mean? And I think that it's better. And I hope fighters actually consider that, yeah, you might not, everybody's not gonna go from 0 to 60 real quick. Sometimes I believe it's best that these fighters, they come in, they drop down to a comfortable weight. It might not be the weight, but drop down to a comfortable weight. Somewhere you have to cut some weight and get that under your system. But then as soon as possible, move up. Because it is a pattern with this going on. And we can argue that a lot of the people that actually had real lopsided, big fight, real lopsided matches has been attributed to dehydration and cutting weight. We have Mr. Gary Russell Jr. against Lomachenko, had to cut an absorbent amount of weight. You know, when Shakur's time came around and, you know, he missed, he was like, look, man, it got to a point where I said, I'm not going to suck myself down. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go. He took a stance. It kind of cost him in the long run, because it relieved him of his belts. And that's what a lot of other fans use when he had leverage to go up to the next division. But if we focus on the health aspect of it, he said, I wasn't going to do anything to make myself go in there unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? He did fight his last fight with a hurt hand or shoulder or something like that. But as far as the weight goes and being comfortable at weight, I think it's very important. They can have long-term effects. And when you're not able to, because sometimes it's not just the cutting of the weight, it's the putting of the weight back on. Sometimes your body don't take well. A lot of the times you're not fighting in your hometown or where you at. You fighting out there in Vegas. We've seen Vegas, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say any name, but we've seen Vegas do some number on some people, man, not going there with weight. So I am concerned. I know that Vergil's not 100%. He was modest in his prediction and all that, like he should, but he's never really been much of a trash talker. He'll say something. He'll get aggressive, but that's not the kind of person he is. That's not the kind of personality. He's real mellow and laid back. But when you get him inside that ring, he's a piranha. You know, we've been talking about weight, man. They say there are weight classes for a reason. And I think we need to do something, man. I'm not necessarily a fan of the same day weigh-ins. I like the day before weigh-ins. But the next day, and then I would like the fact that it would have to be a bracket, that you would have to be closer to your walk around weight, and that when you rehydrate, it's within a parameter, you know, the next day. I just think that it's healthier. I think that it'll balance out everything. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying I did a IBF rehydration video. It did pretty well. Got a lot of good feedback. People were saying, man, thanks for doing it. But so I think something need to be done, you know, because these fighters, man, at all costs, they're going to get in that ring and do their thing. They're going to, if you allow them, like, look at Earl, man. And when he was going to fight Manny Pacquiao with a torn retina. You know, some people say he went in there against Bud with a broken rib. And there was no excuse, because you're deciding to do that. But this is just an inclination that the fighters are going to decide to get in that ring. If they get cleared, you hear me? If they get cleared, they're going to go inside the ring. In the article I read the other day, when it wasn't just about because I call it a skill. It's a skill to be able to cut weight to be able to suck down and then rehydrate the proper way and be able to have longevity with it. It's a real science to it, and every body type can't do it, but it's the safety parameters, because when you suck yourself down and you get hit in the head, you're more susceptible to have blood clots, shock trauma, less punch resistance. So we don't even know. That's the danger of this fight, because this guy got a 73% knockout ratio. I think that Vergil's one of them guys that his will, and and some guys, they could be 70, 80%, you know what I'm saying, and still get the job done. I think that was the case a lot of times with Spence, you know what I'm saying. I'm thinking he might have been, like, what was scary about Spence going into that Bud fight was that we believe Spence was 80% in the Danny Garcia fight. You see what I'm saying? So some people's 80% can get with the best of them. And Danny, he's a legend, a Philly legend, you know what I'm saying? Well respected and everything. But what I'm getting at is these fighters are going to do whatever they can to get inside the ring. I'm concerned with Vergil because I see that this is not going to be his weight class. I don't even know if he's going to be able to dig in with this weight class and have any real sustainability to be able to grab the bull by the horns and fight these other guys. I just think that his body finally is saying, his body keep warning him, this is not you. This is not you. You're not young anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I look forward to the fight. I'm excited about the fight. I think that he is one of the guys that's in the race to be the face of Golden Boy. Right now, we can say Ryan got it because of the numbers and the cachet that he has, having shared the ring with Tank. But I think some of these other guys over there, Golden Boy, Floyd Schofield, he's vying to try to be a face. Arnold Barbosa, he's vying to try to be a face. I think they just signed Jose Ramirez, even though we gotta talk about Jose Ramirez, man. This man done dug 3 opportunities at a belt. He dug Regis, he dug Zepeda, and he just now dug who was it? Barbosa, I believe. That's kind of weird, man. I mean, it's funny how people never talk about that, but that's just the state of Golden Boy. Golden Boy is up for grabs, you know what I'm saying? I think somebody can grab that bull by the horns, because who knows if this Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney fight gonna happen. But I digress from all of that, man. What do you think about this, man? Like, I'm gonna put the article in there. It's Boxing News 24. I might have a little bit of it playing in the background, you know what I'm saying, so you can actually see it. But this boxing is in a weird place. It's in a good place because we're getting the fight. I'm glad that Vergil getting back in the saddle, man. I just hope that he make a decision to go ahead and move up, settle in, even if he's not fighting the creme de la creme right away, for his safety and so that he can be the Vergil that he needs to be. I'm thinking he's gonna have to be bumped up to 160. But who am I? You know what I'm saying? I got somebody else that was I was thinking and wanting to do some material, and I'm looking up and trying to see and waiting for the weigh-in. I'm looking at article and I find that one from Boxing News 24 that co-signs what I've been trying to say, man, about these weights and these, and how boxing kind of need order in that sense. And leave with this. Bernard Hopkins, the last couple months, he had a saying where he said boxing will cause your bluff. Well, the other day, or I think it might have been earlier today, he said, time is undefeated. And you talking about a man who it was a joke on the interview where he said that somebody said that he went a draw with Father Time. And he's like, I'll accept the draw, and they both laughed. I think that was a good one. One of the better portions of that video, might I add. But time is undefeated, and be looking at somebody else, man, that's going through this thing with their bodies just refusing and blowing up and yo-yoing it, in the long-term effects, it's not going to be good, man. So when you may be thinking that somebody's trying to troll or say, and think that somebody is scared of somebody or this and this and that, or not wanting to fight and this and that, you got to consider the safety of the fighter that you're looking at the time. And it's a guy out here, man, that's playing that weight game, man, around the same age, that's going to experience these same things. And if you get in the ring at the wrong point in time, man, it could be real bad, man. We know they get hit in the head, you know what I'm saying? That's our entertainment. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, we got to keep it a buck, man. Especially if you want to see the sport grow and be around for a while. But once again, who am I? Thanks for everybody who tuned in here at Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.